Good evening. Good evening. We had Iris Darcell. All right, who else we got up here? All right, come on in. Come on in. Very distinguished guest coming on tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. Go ahead and tag all your friends on your friends list, your family, and tell them we're having another exciting night tonight. Who is this? Mary Vaughn Holly. How you doing? How you doing? Hope you guys had a wonderful day today. We're going to get started here shortly. Got a very special guest tonight, so we're just waiting for everyone else to chime in. Had a lot of alerts today that people were going to be on tonight, so let's get it going. Let's get it going. You guys give me a thumbs up if you hear me well. All right, give me a thumbs up. Better yet, give me some hearts if you hear me well right now. You guys can hear me, give me some thumbs up and hearts to let me know, or better yet, put it in the comments, say that you can hear me.
You're now tuned into Mpowered Mindz podcast.
Got going on
With your host,
no troubles won't last.
Aqeel Ash-Shakoor.
Last always.
Are you ready to be empowered? Well then, let's go!
It's gonna make you stronger. Whatever it is, it won't last much longer. It was nice, I couldn't sleep. Man, I tossed and turned. Think about this next day and these dollars I gotta earn. It's all true, pimpin'. See, shit ain't lie. Man, many nights I've been broke. Sometimes I much rather die than see. I ain't saying I love it, but I can't fathom the thought of not having enough of it. I wanna be baby mamas and I think it need the drama. All my bills still do. Keep pushing
Jimmy Jean.
to my last breath gone. Past left alone. Till I see my king sitting high on the throne. Focus is what I'm on. By any means, Jones used to say if I'm dope, I put it to my dome. I've been chasing that money from the bottom to the top. Try to be the billionaire before the casket drop. And I know in my heart, and I wanna live right. Got right with my king. Now we tie it out. If it don't kill you, it's gonna make you stronger. Whatever it is, it won't last much longer. Trouble won't last always. Trouble won't last always. If it don't kill you, it's gonna make you stronger. Whatever it is, it won't last much longer. Trouble won't last always. Trouble won't last always. From mine to your neck of the woods, I've been the truth. If I said that, I did that. Never want you for the roof. I was too smooth for nicks and dimes. Love blue collar crime. If you need it, I had it. And show us the credit lines. If I died, I was on my way to hell, bro. I was living foul and it wasn't.
Good evening. Good evening.
You're now tuned into Mpowered Mindz podcast.
Come on in. You're now listening to the Mpowered Mindz theme song.
Aqeel Ash-Shakoor.
Last always.
Got a special guest tonight.
Empowered? Well then, let's go!
Derek Gillum, what's going on, my brother? That's Big Bro right there. Randy Hemingway Sr. What's going on, Doc? Let's go. Let's go. Let's get ready for a very empowered night tonight. We got one of my baby brothers. I call them my baby bros. Short for baby brothers. That's gonna be on tonight. I'm super excited. You're gonna be super excited as well. We keeping it amped up as we always have done. We're on like guess. Let's see. We had for our first one. I had my baby bro Orval Williams. Then I had my Newark, New Jersey. And let me back up because I always forget to include Orval in that. Orval is part of the Dick Wolf universe. Actors. He's one of my baby brothers as well. He's been on Law and Order Organized Crimes. Then the second interview we did with my brother Stephen Strickland out of Newark, New Jersey. JTTF commander on also Law and Order Organized Crime. And if you saw the first episode of the 24th season, you seen the 3-hour crossover, and my brother Stephen Strickland was back as the JTTF commander. And then the second episode is when I was introduced as the precinct commander for season 24 of Law and Order SVU. Our third interview for Mpowered Mindz took place with one of my good friends. He's originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. Now he's killing it in the national commercial realm. His name is James Troop. Hopefully he'll be on tonight. And then this weekend we had the pleasure of another Dick Wolf universe actor. We had my brother Mr. Reggie Kershaw, who is now the commander for Chicago PD. Reggie hails from Detroit, Michigan. And tonight I am super excited. We're about to send him a friend invite. I am super excited to have another one of my younger baby bros, baby brother, Antoine Jackson. You will know him if you watched Law and Order last week. You saw him again as Officer Gant. And he has so much more, but I'm super excited. I've done a couple of projects with him already, and it's just gonna be an exciting night. You know how we're gonna do. We're gonna be very informal, and because we like to dig in. I want to get you the questions answered that people normally don't get answered, and I want to talk about this acting realm from a ground up perspective instead of just doing it to where the questions are so formulated that you really don't get anything. It's like I want you to hear about the good, but I want you to hear about not so much necessarily the bad, because nothing's bad, but you hear about the struggle times of really being an actor. All right, even when we on these shows and what it take to get to the level that we're on now and beyond. I saw our acting coach on tonight. What up, Sheik? Sheik Mahmoud. And so I'm glad that he was able to join us tonight. And I want you to get ready because in the next week or two, prayerfully, the schedules work out, we're going to have him on. And so he is, honestly, if I was to just go ahead and start right, let me tell you what, let me go ahead and send this friend invite to Antoine, and I'll come back to Sheik. Okay, you sent that invite, so hopefully my brother will be joining us very soon. But like I said, we got our acting coach on, Sheik Mahmoud Bey. All right, and man, it's just a pleasure to have you on, brother. So everybody's been witnessing the brothers that we've had on, and we're gonna have some. And your next one will be one of my sisters from LA, who's also killing it in the national commercial field. So ladies, get ready, all right? But tonight, again, one of my baby brothers, one of my fellow acting. Oh, he's watching now. Okay, didn't get it. Uh-oh. Look down there by the star, brother. Look down there by the star and hit that symbol that I told you. I just sent it. Just sitting, Antoine. He's watching, so we're gonna bring him on. If you're on your computer, look down by the star. You will see that symbol that I sent you. It'll also be located on that bottom bar on your cell phone as well. And if you don't see it, just send me your request to come on camera. Yeah, but so you know, it's just amazing. My brother Antoine, he's a fellow up on our acting coach, Sheikh Mahmoud Bey, who's on board tonight as well. And if I'm correct, send it twice. I don't see it. Uh-oh, we're not doing this tonight. Let's see. What can we do? What can we do? All right, look for that star, brother. I'm trying not to go back out and do this. Let's see, can we make some connection with him? Again, we're with the technical difficulties, but let's see. I think it's not letting me send you another invite right now because I had already sent it. You're blinking, so let's see. Oh, here comes that invite, brother. You should see it now. All right, check it now. I just sent you another one. Hey, yes. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Outstanding, man. Let me see if I can get this volume up more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
weird. I was on it for like a couple minutes trying to figure this out.
Yeah, no problem, bro. You know, it's the normal. It's the normal.
I see. You said it happened to Reggie too.
To Reggie, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yup. Let me see if I got the right level. Okay, that's what's up.
How's everybody doing?
Good. You got your volume all the way up?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yep, I got it all the way up.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to put my headphones in because when I started noticing when I use those, it breaks up a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
How's my audio to you? Can you hear me good?
Oh, yeah, it's perfect.
Outstanding, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I have whom I call one of my other babe bros, short for my baby brother. Yeah, ladies, I know you're already looking, but pay attention to what I'm saying right now, okay? All right, you can get to him in a minute, all right? Got to protect my baby brother.
What's up, Ashley? What's up,
So I got my baby brother, Antoine Jackson on tonight. And just to let you know, Sheikh Mahmoud Bey is on already, too.
Okay.
So, you know, he checking us out, man, making sure that we are doing our proper protocols and staying professional.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so, ladies and gentlemen, this young gunner, I met this, we just going to jump right in. I met this young gunner years ago at an audition. And brother, just go ahead and start your introduction. Tell them who you are.
Yeah. Well, those of you who don't know, my name is Antoine Jackson. I'm an actor, artist, entrepreneur. Let's see here. Where can I start? I started off, you know, I'm a fitness coach as well. I'm a fitness trainer, and I started off doing that. Started my career off, and then I went into doing and having my own massage therapy business. For those of you who don't know, and still do. And then I got into acting, I would say probably 2019. And that's one of the first few auditions where I met Aqeel. And
Absolutely.
I've been acting ever since, and I've just been loving it. It's been a beautiful passion of mine, and I think it's one of the best career choices I ever made, you know, that God led me to. So yeah.
Outstanding. So my brother, do you remember what year that was that we met? I want to say
2020. It was
before the pandemic.
Pandemic. It's 2019.
2019. Okay, 2019. Yeah. So what I always like to go back to is what is that the year you started acting?
That's the year I started.
Okay. Good, because I thought so. I wanted to make sure, but I remember we were auditioning for a project. We weren't auditioning for the same role, but I remember watching him, and he felt that he didn't do a good job, and I think somehow or another we started talking to each other, and I was just giving you some words of encouragement. Now, mind you, in 2019, I had only been acting 4 years myself at that time, and I don't think that project even came out. We shot what we did. But that's neither here nor there. But I just remember still telling you, like, yeah, just stick with it, man. We all been through that same thing of bad auditionings and everything. And from there, we just grew over time and watching him grow. And it's just been remarkable, in between having the one-on-one conversations. And what's funny is I always say this because they always pick with me, him and one of our other baby brothers, Malachi.
Oh yeah, Malachi.
Yeah, these brothers were, when I come out of my film premieres and stuff, they always be lined up, man. And so I got plenty of pictures, and brothers will always come out to support. But the one thing that they would always get me with is I said, yeah, we know when you got something, boy, because you're always thanking God for it. and
hey,
you
every time I get on Facebook,
jokers, when they get together, they are hilarious. But man, it's just been remarkable. I've been remarkably proud of just watching your growth. And so listen, are you married? In a relationship? Because I know I got to go ahead and hit you with it, because people out here want to know. I ain't going to say no specific gender, but I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm single right now. Yeah.
You're single, right? See? Okay, but
single and focus on
He said he's single right now.
Single right now.
This boy is all over TV. He said right now. Yeah, he means right now.
Yeah.
All right, outstanding, man.
Yeah. Every time I've seen you in those auditions, I think I seen you in 1 or 2 auditions that we did together, man. And it was just, I thought it was just so amazing how you poured into me after I got done that one audition when I was a bit rattled.
Wow.
I couldn't get the part, man. And I can't remember what that project was for, and that was at the time where I'm just like, dang, I really wanted it, and I wanted to obviously do my best, but then I seen you come in, or I seen you when I was walking out of my audition. And I don't know, man, I think that's really, was that the first time we met?
Yeah, that was literally the first time we met, man. Yeah. Literally. Yeah, I didn't know you from Adam, brother, but
right.
What I liked about it, man, and I'm just truly a believer that spirits know spirits, man, and you just had a very welcoming spirit that didn't take it as I was trying to sun you, or like I knew it all or anything, man. And I just always attempt to reach out to people like I would want to be reached out to, not knowing things. Because when I came in, I was the same way. And like I had experiences with an agent, one of my agents, PCG talent, when I went up there. Man, I ain't know nothing about what a headshot supposed to look like.
Right.
Demo reel, audition. And I always tell people, because we laughed about it when I got signed to PCG, and I started booking a whole lot with them when I was with them. But when we finally got around to talk about it, they laughed. They was like, man, Peter love you. I said, yeah. I said, but man, I remember we laughed about my first interview with them. Came in, like I said, I had a headshot that wasn't industry quality. And if you guys have seen Malcolm X, and I thought this thing was about impressing people with what you could do when I started. Bad mistake. But I learned. And so my monologue was the prayer scene in Arabic from Malcolm X. Now, for everybody that know me, I was born and raised Christian and spent 20 years practicing Islam, teaching it, talking it, man. And so, I went in there and I did that prayer that he laid in the masjid. And man, they was looking like, I thought it was amazing. Gonna find out it was like, we didn't even know what you were doing. And man, it was just so funny when we laughed about it. And so in that spirit though, after that, they took me out in the hallway and they showed me what a headshot was. And it just happened, you probably know Kyrie Williams. And he boxes. And so they showed me his headshot, man, but they couldn't tell me where he got it. But they said that, and I didn't know him. And I immediately came home on Facebook and I researched the devil out of attempting to find that young brother. And I found him, and I shot the question. I told him the whole experience, man. And I said, man, wherever your headshot photographer is, that's where I'm willing to go. And that brother was so welcoming that he gave me the information, and I shot to Chicago with Jen Stanko Photography, and she has been my headshot photographer since then.
Okay.
And so, in this like manner, bro, that was the same thing I wanted to do to you, just pour in anything that I knew because I saw the determination in your heart. So with that, bro, what was the first project that you booked?
The first project that I booked was the first project from acting was a music video that I booked with Ornetta Davis. And
what was that project?
That was a music video that was telling her story about how she was in an abusive relationship. So I played like it was a music video, but it's much more storytelling than anything. And she's the queen of blues in Detroit. So if you know her, you know her. But I did that project. Then I went on to do auditioning, and then got into first of all taking classes. And my instructor, acting coach is Sheik. Hopefully he's on here. I'm not sure or not, but Sheik Mama Bay was my acting coach. Then my first film that I booked after taking his classes was Narc with Beasley Jones. And so that was my first, and that was a lead role.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah. So
what do you think you learned from, you know what, brother, as much as I hate to do it, I think I'm going to have to grab my headphones.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah, it's real low.
Oh, okay.
For me.
I wonder, let me know.
I tell you what, though, I won't leave the people blank. Tell them the difference between your first audition and that audition and you booking. Some things that you learn. And I'm going to grab my headphones while you're doing that.
For sure. I'll talk to the people. Can everybody hear me? I don't know if anybody can hear me, first of all. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. I don't know. But yes. So my first audition and auditioning now, I would say that going into audition, you have these expectations. Yeah, I need to, if you have the script, sometimes you get the script ahead of time or sides, which is just a scene of the script, and then go over it. And I was always the one to be the first one at the auditions. And so what happened was, I would prepare, but then I would just, when I get audition, I'll be nervous, and then I'll just be too loud, too much, or just be over dramatic, if you will. Okay, Heather can hear me. And now taking more classes, getting more involved in studying the art of it, and especially with film, you learn to bring it more internal. So you won't have to be all over the place, whether it's moving too much or, doing just too much with the body languages, but just being true to the character. Can you hear me, Aqeel?
Yeah, great now.
Okay, I think they said they can hear me too. So I was telling, just being over the top in an audition instead of staying true. That's the difference from then and now. Like now I'm more grounded. Now I'm more poised. Now I'm, auditioning in front of network television. And my first network television was Chicago PD.
Okay, hold on. We're not even getting into that yet. We jumping.
We jumping.
Because I want to make sure, man, it's like so much more that people don't understand. Because I don't want people to get misconstrued, man, because a lot of times what happen is actors talk and they make it look easy where we're at, and you and I know we've had a lot of long conversations for us to get to for this part right here. And I think you talked about Sheik a little earlier.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What is it? What was it like your first time in with Sheik?
You know, it is crazy. I just took his class over the weekend, but my first time working with Sheik it was a 3-day workshop, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like it always is. And Malachi actually told me to take his class.
Yeah.
I'll tell that backstory too after this. But so Malachi told me to take his class because he was already taking his class. I'm like, okay, let me check it out. And I went there, and then Sheik just had this, you know, I had never taken an acting class before, so I didn't know what to expect. So Sheik just had this intensity about him and passion, love for it.
Did he give you that look? Did he give you that stare down, bro? Yeah, be honest. He gave you that stare, like, okay,
I feel like he did, you know.
Yeah.
It's like he's looking into your soul, you know.
Right, for real. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And I was taking his class. It was 3 days. It was just his workshop. We went over scene breakdown and stuff like that. And it was just, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. It was my first time ever acting or doing anything. So, you know, I'm all over the place. I'm moving too much. You know, I don't sound natural. I sound dialogue. Just like you expect when you first starting off. You sound green. And so Sheik is funny because Sheik saw me working hard at it, but he you know, I look at it as me trying to prove that I can do this. And it was other seasoned actors in the room.
Right.
I just I wanted to be where they were at and how they got there. You know what I mean? So I just kept having to prove a point, prove myself in that class, and then
So what did he say to you? What did he say to you? Because I know he didn't let you get away with that. What did he say to you?
Actually, he said, you got it, brother. You got to do X, Y, and Z. But you know, just keep working at it. But it was almost like, it almost felt like, you know, no shade, but I felt like he was losing faith in what I was doing that week. And then it was because we were about to shoot a scene on Sunday for the work that we were doing, and I was not getting it. And I'm talking to him after class, after he's closing down. I'm staying till late. That's when I'm like, you know what do I need to do? And then that's when he was like, okay, I see it in you, brother. I'm going to pour into you. You know what I mean? So it was just about not giving up. You know? Yeah,
man. So, cause I tell the story too. My first class was with Malachi as well, and I can't remember if Aria was in that class as well. One of our other fellow sisters in the acting class, but dude, we literally was in our first class with Sheik, and man, 30 minutes into a class, anybody was in that class? No, we were 30 minutes into that class, and he had Malachi and I doing basically an improv scene. And brother, I post the pictures every now and then. I'll probably dig it up and post it again here soon. We literally was in there, locked arm in arm, falling out in tears, man. We had did a father-son improv scene. And so anybody listening, I used to say this about music when I was doing music and music production and things like that, and I still dabble around with it. But it's always this thing when somebody says, "Oh, you say you can sing? You say you can rap? Let me hear something." And people got to start clearing their throat. Right. They got to start doing, man, you just lost your chance. And so I felt like that night that Malachi and I was both ready. It wasn't about, we barely knew each other. We didn't know each other, period, brother. And for us to get that intimate to where we were literally holding each other, man. And I really felt like he was my son. And we didn't know. Let me tell you what happened at the end. I'll go forward and I'll go backwards. Let me tell you what happened at the end. When we finished, man, it was such a remarkable first night. And Oh
Oh
my
my
God,
God,
brother.
brother.
What?
What? Let me turn this volume down.
What happened then, brother, was simply this. We were going to the park. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We were going to. I was going to. We were in the parking lot, and everybody's just wrapping up. And out comes Sheik. He came over to talk to me. Da 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 da. I won't tell you everything, but it was like da 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 da. Okay. Got a script for you. It's like, what? Got a script for me? And man, listen. Long story short, that was Malachi and I audition.
Interesting.
For
Okay.
the film. For the film. Yep. And the film was titled My Father's Son.
I saw
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And man, it's crazy, brother. Like, wow, we were auditioning. This is our first acting class. And we landed it. Didn't know. So anybody that's listening, what I'm telling you is that anytime you get a chance to, I don't like saying, showcasing your talent or performing. I love to say now because of you get a book called Living in the Moment by Larry Marsh. He's another very great acting coach, and he's worked with all the greats, and he talks about living in the moment.
Living in the moment.
Living in the moment. And so just that, man, being able to live in the moment. And then now, this is our first time working with Sheik and in his directing and things. It was just a blast, man. Now, the second acting class with Sheik, by now I had booked a speaking role and all of that stuff, man. And I wasn't conceited when I went in there. I just really thought that I had it. So I was like you, but so when I got in there, there were other people in there that were greener than I was. And so I remember doing a scene with the young lady, and after we did the scene, it was like, yeah. And I looked over at Sheik, and I just looked, that look again that he got. And he's just looking back at me, and I'm looking at him. Like you said, stirring in my soul. He just goes, what, brother? I ain't see nothing. Doc.
Interesting.
I just eased on up out the chair and went and set up on the side, man. I wouldn't even call it a bruised ego. I think it was just a check mark, man. Like he just bumped me on the shoulder, man, or just like, one of those pop up side the head. It was like, you got to do homework. You just can't come in here. And I really thought about it, man. I was like, yeah, I didn't give what I gave that first time I took his class, and it's so easy that people come up to you. How many people have come up to you since they've seen you on TV? We're going to cover some of your independent work and just thought that they could act.
Quite a few, quite a bit.
No number, right?
Yes, no number. Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of people.
Yeah, insurmountable number, man. So it's like, I tell people, like, I have people call me and say, hey, Aqeel, I can act, so I just need to know how to do this. And I'm thinking, well, if you're, and there's certain questions that, if you're acting and you're a professional actor, there's certain questions that you don't even need to ask. And so when people ask me these certain questions, I'll be like, you don't get it. So I attempt to help them out. But I'm like, this is not a joke.
No.
We pay thousands and hundreds of dollars for classes to take them and to repetitively take them and to get knowledge and spend time. So you just gave us, your first audition fail. I don't like calling it fail because I think you learned something in that moment. I learned something. Yeah. Now, what is the difference you would say between auditioning for independent work versus the major industry?
It's interesting because well, number one, you're mainly in person for the independent films, for the local independent films. They're still doing person. Some of them you can send self-tapes, but more than likely you're in person. Now, ever since, and this has been going on for a while, right, before COVID, but since COVID, it just really locked down into having you submit self-tapes. Casting directors ask for your audition to put on tape, and you send it off. So that's the difference. But as far as everything else, it's they may ask you to Okay, good. Okay, number one, the network won't even tell you that you did. No, nobody will tell you that you did good, independent or network. But they'll have you say, okay, well, try this way, try a different way. Normally, what I was accustomed to when I was auditioning independently was going in, doing the scene, whether it was good or not, and then leaving out. Some of them now, if it is in person, it's virtual. In person, it's virtual or through Zoom, and
Okay.
they might have you, give you some notes as in like, do it this way. Okay, and then right, thanks for your time, and then that's it, and you won't ever know. That's the thing.
Okay.
I've auditioned. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go
No, I
ahead.
don't
Go ahead.
want to jump. I don't want to jump.
Oh no. I was gonna say now, and what you said is true. Now personally, the ones that we have worked with, a lot of
Yeah.
I haven't worked with everybody that's well known in the independent industry, especially here in Michigan, Detroit specifically, but quite a few. And music coming over somewhere. I'm sorry, brother. And it's the thing that I talk to them about is stop letting actors come in and cheat them and disrespect them for not doing their work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can't go anywhere else. And the reason that I ask you that about the difference is and you pretty much, I think you agree to work towards that. In a nutshell, really, there's no difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right?
There's no difference.
Because if you're not giving them everything you would be giving a major, why are you even on it? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And that's the difference, because so a lot of people won't prepare. I've talked to, even now, since I've been doing a lot of major work, I've talked to, I still talk to some of the directors and producers, and they'll be like, Aqeel, this and that, and we're talking, and I say, I keep telling you guys, stop letting them come in and doing that. Stop letting them hand in headshots on, stop letting them hand in headshots on copy paper.
Mm-hmm.
If you're really serious about it, you're going to spend the money to get the headshots. We all do. You can't get to the next level. And people don't want to come in and audition. It's like, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Even people that have done work. I mean, come on now. I still come in. I still audition. You still audition, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So why do people think that they should be on a project to come out, just give me a call when you need somebody? That is so ridiculous. That's not any respect to the craft.
Yeah, especially when cats start getting, one or two roles or anything like that. They're expecting, okay, you just hit me up when you got your script going, or let me, hit me up for X, Y, and Z role. You know what I mean? And that's just you have to put in the work no matter what, no matter who you are. That's just how it is. You're going to be doing that for the rest of your life. I think a lot of people get ahead of themselves.
Oh man, definitely.
That. But then again, a lot of people don't know. They think it's just some fame game or something like that.
It is. Right.
It is. It's none of that, man. You have to, if you're really taking it serious, and you'll know, and you see other people working, you see the difference.
The very big difference, right? So let's talk about this.
Yeah. Cool.
Your first lead role in a film.
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
It was Narc.
It was Narc.
Narc.
Okay. Yeah, something hit me today too.
What's that?
Because I was, preparing tonight. So, if you guys haven't seen Narc, you catch my brother. He's the lead actor. What role did you play?
Officer Tracy Smith. He's a rookie.
Okay.
In the police department.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this was produced and directed by.
Yeah, BZ Jones and A-Line Cinema with Reem.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. Now, so here's the question that I thought about. It was crazy because I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a good question for him. I'm sure everyone want to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're in this acting world, brother, and you're not married, but so BZ's wife, the producer and director's wife played your wife in the film. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
Tori Monet.
Terry Monet. Shout out to Tori and shout out to Beezy,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
So Beezy and I worked together. We finally worked together. We have been trying to work together for a few years, man. It just seemed like every time he called me and every time we talked, I was working on a project and our schedules didn't intertwine well. And then finally on Not He Played Me, that was shot by Kyle. But These Men for Everybody. I played a lawyer in that, and Beezy did the cinematography on that. And but now I saw you in a lot of scenes, brother. You were shirtless. You were in the bed. What was that pressure like, brother? The producer and director's wife is playing your wife, and y'all had quite a few bed scenes and things like that. Tell the people how do we do this thing professionally? How do you keep track?
Well, yeah, 100%. Well, number one, that I was still I was still new to the film community and everything like that, so I didn't know nobody really. I just heard about certain individuals through other people sending me their Instagram or Facebook. Hey, follow this person. So then that's when I followed Beezy, I believe, and but the first day I actually was working with Tori with the shirtless scene. If anybody has seen the movie, and that's when I found out that they were married.
Yeah,
and so I was like, oh, and this is when I'm in the bed, and Beezy got the camera right here, and he's setting up, and then I think I heard her. I think one of them called each other baby or honey or something. I was like, oh, okay. So now the pressure kind of went up. I was like, oh, right. But I just, when that happened, I just stayed true to the character, what I'm supposed to do for the character and for the scene. Absolutely. And for the story, number one. You can't let those kind of things get ahead of you. Stay professional. Obviously, you ask the person who you're working with, whether, it's a guy, woman, what is the boundaries? What is the boundaries? Right. How you build the chemistry first. But me and Tori felt pretty comfortable. It was pretty good. And we didn't do too much. It was just kiss on the cheek or something like that. Okay. He was hugging me from behind. And it went well. It went well. That was the first scene we shot in Narc.
Outstanding. Yeah, I've had funny because my first lead role scene was pretty intimate too. My co-star was Crystal Hill in Turn of the Cheek, and this was all new for me, brother. Man, I had a movie before that was supposed to go down. It probably would have been a little bit tougher than that, but God sees fit, to put you in certain projects. And before we go on, so let me ask you this, then.
Yeah.
So, what is your faith like, if you don't mind sharing? Are you a believer?
Absolutely, 100% forever.
Now, what does that mean when you say you believe? You subscribe to a religion?
Are
you Christian? Okay, outstanding. Now I knew that, but I had to ask that
for sure.
for the people. Outstanding. Now, what percentage would you say counts as what you do and where you are now? How important is that, your faith?
With what I do now compared to before, you're saying?
Yeah.
How important faith is always important. My faith never wavered. From before acting, just surviving through our life or whatever it is. Growing up in a broken home, but everything stemmed from my mother, and she instilled a lot of things in me as a Christian, and going to church and everything like that. And then other people, mentors. So it always stuck with me, and still does. Okay. I'm even stronger in my faith now the older I get, because you start to see different things and experience, and your mind is more opened up in a way. Yeah, I still keep my faith strong, and always still encourage others if I can.
Amen. Yeah, I make sure I do every attempt to show people, man, because it's like it's more to it than just even your craft.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking again to our acting coach that is on now, Sheik Mahmoud Bey, and man, I was telling him, I said, I think we were talking like last week, and I was saying, Sheik, I said, man, some people just don't believe it. They don't understand that there's a spirit in the room in everything we do. And I said, man, I literally post stuff even before I book it, and then I book it. And I said, and then so I said this, and I made this specific statement. I said, man, see, you gotta, people don't understand, you gotta will this in the being, man. And he lit up when I said it. He said, brother, that's exactly what I tell people. He said, you literally gotta will stuff in the being. And I believe that, you know, and I always make people know that, you know, I'm not into the universe move stuff. I'm not into the speak it into existence. I'm not into the name and the claim it. What I'm into is what the scripture says. It says to speak those things as they are and to pray those things as they are, not as they were. And there's life and death in the power of the tongue.
Right.
And so that's what I speak. And so a lot of times I have put stuff, you might have seen me put something like I literally put up when I booked FBI, before I put it up, if anybody ever want to fact check me, scroll down my line, you'll see I put up a post like probably some weeks ahead of time. And I said, CBS loading. And it was a little after that, man. I booked, and I knew what I wanted, so I put that up, and man, next thing you know, I booked FBI a few weeks after I came back from my first episode of Chicago. Not Chicago, but Law and Order SVU, right? And then I've told the story with Reggie and a couple more times, but for the people that didn't hear it, you know, I told them that when I came back from filming FBI the day before Thanksgiving, celebrated Thanksgiving with my wife because we empty nesters now, children in school, and the two oldest are living in North Carolina. And I had a surgery after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
You know, and then after I had filmed the first episode in July for Law and Order, I went in October. It hit October, and I went a week that I couldn't walk. I literally woke up and I couldn't walk that morning. I fell 4 times, had to be EMS to the hospital, kept me for a week, thought I had a stroke, kept telling them my God didn't, say I had a stroke. And it turned out I didn't have a stroke, but they couldn't tell me what happened. But God got me back walking. They couldn't explain it. And that's when I booked FBI, came back. So like I said, up until now, after Thanksgiving, I had another surgery. And then and then after then, when I came back, it was probably about a week or 2 out. And then I said, man, I counted up the days and said, I got so many days left. And it's a post on my post, like my Facebook page. I said, I got so many days and I'm going to book at least 1 or 2 more television shows. And literally this one night we pull up, my wife and I, to the restaurant, and the phone rings and it's my agent. She's screaming, Aqeel, you coming back to New York, baby? And she told me that, so they were making me a recurring role as the precinct commander in Law and Order SVU. And man, let me tell you something. For those of you watching and listening, I promise you, this is nothing but faith and working. You're going to pray, but at some point you got to get up and labor. And that's what this brother is saying. And so I call it like equalizing the play. So you already know where I'm going now. I call it equalizing the play. Now, I wanted to be on Equalizer, brother. Let me tell you this. And I spoke that. I was watching Equalizer, and I started watching Latifah, and I was like, I want to be up here. And the next thing you know, I get this audition. I was like, this is crazy. I got it. I got it. And then all of a sudden I get a message from you that you on Equalizer. I was like, what? And then come to find out, we auditioned for the same episode.
Which was crazy. I remember you told me that. I was like, wow, really? That's a whole world.
Not the same character, but the same episode. So, but I didn't get booked. But guess who got booked? How was it? Yeah, man. How was it working with Latifah?
Oh, man, it was. I tell people all the time, she's such she's a jewel to be around. She's amazing. She has this beautiful spirit about her that just draws you to her. It's not only just because of who she is and what she's done and what she's still is doing, but just her personality. She's just cool, laid back, chill, fun to be around, and she works extremely hard. The first day when I got the call, went to New York. First day of filming, we were in the same scene. I was filming my part first, and then she came in her Escalade and came down the street all blacked out, and I'm like, yeah, that's Queen Latifah pulling up, and she got out the car, and I've heard and I know that she rides motorcycles, so her scene, she was just getting on the bike, preparing, riding the motorcycle down the street while filming mine in between, filming my scene. And so we didn't speak the first day or two because I was there for a couple weeks on set, and but we were paying attention to each other. Like she was over there, I was right here. She was watching me and taking notice.
I know why she was watching.
No, I don't know.
I know why she was watching you. She was
ready to
sizing you up, bro. Because if anybody's seen that, I want y'all to go watch that episode of Equalizer. You was playing was it Shorty Pimp? What is it? Was it
Shorty Pinto?
Shorty Pinto. And man, I feel so bad for you, man. Latifah dusted you off, bro. She dusted you off.
You can't tell it. You can't tell it if they ain't seen it yet. You can't.
Well, I gotta tell them that part. I want to make them go watch it. I want them to see. I was like, man, why Latifah? And then it hit me. I was like, I knew why she threw you across the car. She took it back to UNITY. It's like, who you calling them?
Yeah.
Yo, so she
right. Yeah,
so,
man.
And then you got to work with Big Daddy Kane in that too, man. So how was that, bro?
Oh, that was cool. So our changing rooms, because we weren't in the trailer, we were at the studio, so we had our own rooms, and then I'm out in the little common area talking to the other actors and the ADs and everything, and then he just walks right by. I'm like, I'm asking my boy Charles. I'm like, he was like, yeah, that's Big Daddy. I'm looking on the call sheet like, oh yeah, that is him. Yeah.
That is him, yeah.
Because I paid attention to the casting call. What do you call it?
Call sheet.
Call sheet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But I was trying to make sure I got there on time and what I need to do.
That's it. That's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. So then he walks by and I was like, oh snap. So then he came back out and I just greeted him. He just showed love, man. He was a cool cat from jump. Yeah. So
man.
Yeah.
I think that's what we got to do, because I did the same thing. Like, some of my first time working with and I'm gonna say this for the time now, but because that's what I was calling them then. And so when the first time working with the stars, again, conversation I had with our acting coach Sheik Mahmoud Bey, and I was telling him, Sheik, what I had to learn is like, wait a minute, I'm up here, I'm a star also. We don't gotta be starstruck no more. They called us because that's who we are. And so when you were saying, like, I was paying attention to what I needed to be, that's all you needed to pay attention to. Everybody else is responsible for their own slot. And it's nothing crazier than to look on that call sheet that first time you get that, because I shoot a lot of videos from the trailer because it's an experience, and I love sharing the real life experience with other people. And so talk about that. What is it like the first time you got your trailer, and what project was it?
The first project was Chicago PD, and I'll get into the star thing, celebrity thing too later in a minute. But my first network was Chicago PD, playing Officer Gant, and I got there. I didn't know what to expect. I know I just needed to get to Chicago, and so I believe I flew out there, and then got the hotel, everything like that. And then I found where the studio was, went to production, went to the studio, they showed me to my trailer. Hey, this is, here's food, here's that. This is X, Y, and Z. This is the AD, this is the PA. She'll be walking around, making sure you're good if you need anything. So that whole experience was it's like welcoming, you know what I mean? It's like professional, working on those sets as it should be. And you come there to do your job. You make sure you're prepared and off book, and just keep working on the scene and the character. And I finally got in my trailer, and I'm in this big trailer.
Hold on, wait a minute. You said something important.
What's that?
Now, you were cast. You
Yeah.
booked the role.
Yeah.
You said when you got in your trailer and you said you got there, you was meeting it, you were still rehearsing. Why? You got the job. What? I mean, you the man now. You're the star. You're the one that's gonna be on. Everybody, you are now gonna be a national star. Why you gotta study? Why? What? Do that for what?
Oh, because it doesn't stop. Just because you make it to network television or whatever it is, the work is still the same. You still apply that. You still apply it. I'm always breaking down the scene all the way up until I got it. Even while filming, you know what I mean?
Right.
You might discover something new, or the director might tell you, or you just got to be prepared for anything. Number one, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared for anything, because the director, and that happened. It was one line where it didn't add up right, where I had to make a call into the radio, and it didn't add up. So one of the other actors who's the main role on the show was like, hey, this doesn't make sense. And then the director's looking at it like, oh yeah, you're right, let's change that. So they had to change my line.
right.
They had to change my line, and then I had to be prepared for it. But it was a cool environment. It was like no pressure, just know what you're saying and why you're saying it. But just be prepared for anything that you do, because once it's no playing around. Time is money.
Oh, say that again.
Time is money. Time is money.
See, and I think that's what a lot of people miss, even in the independent world. Time is money. You don't show up on time. I've seen it working on projects in the independent industry, and it's like, they're already fighting for money to come up with money to do the films so we can be in. All right. And you got to understand, like, maybe a church got rented, maybe a school got rented, or a business office, and it's time slots. And all of those, we got to be here. When you hear that AD coming around and they're telling you, like, you're shooting it, you're doing like a couple of shots, and they're marking off. It's so much more that we can't cover in this, but there are time for shots. They got a certain amount of time for shots, even on the professional, the major industry sets. And sometimes, the director has a vision, like he might want to get another shot, and it's like, yo, we gotta move. So somebody's responsible for pushing that thing forward so we can keep going. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's where I was saying about studying the lines. Like I said, why would you still be studying the lines? And you gave us the reason why. And it's like, so you come on unprepared just because you got it. Now you've been telling everybody, and you've been, putting up pictures. Hey, I'm about to be on Chicago PD, and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And you didn't do any more study work. And then you get there, they change your line. Now you all baffled. And now this is your shot. This is your first time, and then you're gonna be a national star after this, and then or you're gonna be a national mess up, because now everybody's gonna learn that you can't handle the pressure of being on set.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so for people, if you've never been on a professional set, or even if you've never been on an independent set, you gotta think about it. You got cameramen, boom operators, gaffers, sticks. You got everybody. All these people are watching you. It's much different than you staring in the mirror or rehearsing with your scene, or I'll tell you this too. Comfortable with people versus, like you said, none of these people I know. And you don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
Chicago, well, before I get ahead, because I'm conscious of the time too.
It's okay.
But,
it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, your first role as Officer Gant, did you have a speaking role?
I did.
Break that down for us and tell us what happened. Now this is good. I told you when you called me. I love this.
So let me backtrack. So when I auditioned for one character who was I want to say she was I want to say she was a sergeant in it. And
Yeah. I can't call her name now, but
yeah,
I know her. Yeah.
right. So she was a sergeant in it. And so that's the role they sent me to audition for. So it was like a couple pages, maybe almost 3, for sure, because we had a couple scenes in there. And so they was like, okay, let's have you audition for the other police officer. And it just said police officer. It didn't say no name or nothing like that. And that's the one I put audition for. That's the one they wanted me for whatever reason. So you know, just because one thing doesn't work out doesn't mean they're not looking to put you in a different role. So that's
Say
what
that again. Say that again.
So just because you audition for one thing and you may not get it, doesn't mean they're not looking to put you in a different role. And so they switched me to a different police officer, which I was like, cool, you know. And it was.
Let's be honest. Were you upset?
No.
You won't?
I wasn't. No, because
why weren't you upset?
Because, and it's number one, it's the business. Number two, you can't.
Amen. Say that again. It's the what?
It's the business. It's the business. Brother. You're gonna get told no every single day. This is probably the industry with the most no's, or they don't even say no. They won't say nothing.
Yeah, what you gonna do? What you gonna do if they change?
You just move on to the next one. That's it. You give it your best, and you move it on. You let it go. And so, what was I saying? So they said, okay, we want to put you on hold for this officer and this officer again. And then
what's being on hold, brother? You giving us a lot. What's being on hold?
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So basically, to break it down, is your audition. If they like you, they will do check availability. Check availability doesn't mean you got it, but they pin you.
That's right.
They pin you. And so that's what they did for me. So check availability or something like that. And then they said, okay, we want you to be this officer in the same scene. And then that's when then you get an offer. Once you get the offer, your agent sends you that, and then that's when you booked it, when you get the official offer. Or they might just say you booked, right? Then, so yeah, hope that clears it up. If anybody got any, it could be kind of confusing if you don't know. So that was that. So then that consists from 3 pages to just a couple lines now, which I'm like, a couple lines. And then I'm hearing the one-liners are the hardest ones.
I just covered that.
I'm hearing that.
I just covered that this weekend with Reggie Shaw.
Okay.
Man, I've had so many. Let me tell you something. I didn't mean to cut you, but since I gotta make people understand.
Yeah.
Everybody wants these long roles. They want these 9-10 page dialogues and things like that. Cool. But I promise you, at least in my experience, the one-liners have been the toughest ever audition. All you gotta do is just say, sit down over there. And you're trying to, like, if you don't, and this is where that scene breakdown, understanding everything, reading the subtitles, reading everything in the little parentheses, if you guys don't know, understanding what that scene is about. And it's like, it's so many ways you can do it. And then they ask you to submit. Sometimes they don't even give you enough. They say submit two choices. You like, oh my God. Now you're trying to figure out, am I going to say, sit down over there? Sit down over there. Sit down over there. Sit down over there. Sit down over there. There's so many variations.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you got to make a choice. Talk to him.
Yeah, you got to make a choice. You're right. There's 1,000 say that.
How long did it take you to settle on, like, I'm gonna just go with these and that's what it's gonna be?
Not really much, because I had a couple lines, but what just made it easier. Well, number one, just having the previous work beforehand. Like you study scripts, you in classes, so you prepare for anything. I was never afraid of one-liners. It can be daunting though.
Daunting, very daunting.
It didn't intimidate me or nothing like that. So I had a couple lines I just had to say, but what really helped me out, I was just in the moment, in the scene. So you feel the scene out and you respond to what's going on around you and in the moment. That's where it's supposed to come from, not having a preconceived way of doing it, because you don't know what happens when you get there. Because like I said, I had a 2 or 3 lines for Chicago PD, and they ended up changing one of them because it didn't fit right. And so I had to immediately, remember or keep that line in mind while I'm doing the scene. And then, yeah. So it wasn't, for me, starting off there, it wasn't too bad. You just already prepared for it, you know what I mean? But for a lot of people, it is. The one-liners will like make you go crazy.
So let me ask you this. So now you went from the sergeant who was speaking all these lines to Officer Gant that had like 3 lines. Now, when the final edit came,
what
was the final edit? What? Yeah.
The final edit. The final edit. And let me tell you, I'm only saying this because, just because people need to hear this, and it can inspire somebody else. This is my first network television show, and it went extremely well. But then when it came to when it aired on March 8th or whatever it was, last year in 2021, I had a watch party. And I had a bunch of people, come through, and it was a great time. And I'm making sure everything was good. I'm excited. It's great vibes. And I'm the first. We shot a couple different scenes, and I'm in the first 2 or 3. Nothing came. They cut my lines out. I was with Malachi. I was right next to him. I'm like, Malachi, I think they cut my lines. He was like, you sure? I was like, yeah, because I was supposed to say something. I was
supposed to say right.
The audience, and they don't know what to expect. They just expected me to be in other scenes, and then once that scene ended, or those couple scenes ended, it was like, did we miss it or?
Yes. Oh my God! Oh, that's what.
And they're inquisitive in their mind. They're like, do we need to go back?
And they just being genuine, but they don't understand, man. Like, oh my God, man. Like, dude, okay. The first time I was ever on TV, when I was on Chicago PD, it was the day after our family had just gotten booked for Chicago Med. And we went on as just extras for the first time. But we got bumped up to featured. And we had about like 6 or 7 scenes in that episode where you could see it and see us and everything. So when I came off set that day, man, I was just about to get on the shuttle bus to go back to the vehicle. Got a call, didn't recognize the number, but I answered. It was a Chicago number, blah, 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 blah. It was like, how would you like to be on PD tomorrow? I was like, what? Yeah, So, man, we shoot this scene. I'm with my frat brother, LaRoss, Omega Psi Phi, in the scene. I first seen, me and him seeing him that day, man. It was incredible. The camera's like right there in my face. Get in there, man. I done moved in the spot, so Voight and them were walking through this gang area, and so I was like, yo, this is naturally what would happen. So I go up on the fence right behind Voight, like as I'm looking at you right now, I'm like right here, man. When that thing aired, bro, what you saw was this. The only reason you know is me because I knew I had on that blue shirt, man. I felt so, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to be on TV, big time again, man, bro. And I've done that too, man. You shoot so much stuff, man, and then when they edit it, my first speaking role on Chicago, man, was the same way. I was shrapnel, man. I went through this whole scene. You hear me breathing, you hear me going off, they're snatching the metal on my arm, and it's coming back from a commercial break. So you hear me panting and everything, as this black is coming, and you hear all my lines going, oh, ooh, you know, you all of that stuff going on when it comes.
Yeah,
Next thing you know, you got Tori. I forgot what Tori's name. She used to be on Chicago Med.
Yeah.
You see her pull it out, and I just let out the yell.
That's what's happened. That's the business, man. You can't.
You know, I was like,
yeah, and you can't let those things. You can't let those things get to you. You know, I'm going to be honest. It hurt because I had a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
It bothered me, but then from then, you know, I just let it go. After that, I got screen time. People saw me. I was on there. It's a blessing. It's something to be grateful for. And then, but I did, and it's all kind of reasons why they were, because of timing, because it doesn't work with the scene. It's not just because of you.
And I tell people that all the time, man. It has nothing to do with you. Listen, some years ago, I shot Old Man in the Gun with Robert Redford. Is his last acting film. At age 82, Sissy Spacek and Danny Glover. I came on as an extra again, and they bumped me up, brother. And they had me doing all this stuff. I said a little stuff, man. And listen, you know who had the most stuff cut out that film? Danny Glover. I mean, they wiped out like all of this stuff. We had big scenes of me marching prisoners on the yard and calling cadence like I was doing in the Marine Corps. None of that stuff made it, man. And I'm all hype, you know. But, you know, back to your SAG role, though, bro, we got to understand it was still a SAG role. You still got SAG pay. And I think I reached out and called you, or either you called me and we talked about it. And again, I was just attempting to give you a pep talk like, bro, don't worry about it. That's, you know, how things go. Because I didn't know, too. I thought maybe I had missed it. And then I was like, you know, the speaking line, and you cleared up, and I was like, okay. Yeah, bro, no problem. I was like, but, bro, they're going to have you back. Remember me saying that? I said, bro, they're gonna have you back, bro. And so we have, I know there's something else before I get into this, man, but you're in the Dick Wolf universe, brother, and which if you people don't understand what that means is simply I guess in a nutshell, man, Dick Wolf take care of his people. As far as when I say that, you know, I don't want to talk about the contracts and all that stuff like that, or people that left the show. I'm talking about when you get in the Dick Wolf universe, you land something, you're generally going to be on another show, Dick Wolf's in another trilogy or something. And I've been blessed. I've been last season. This is the 8th season of Chicago Med now. Season 7, my role as FBI agent Russo started out as a recurring role. The day that we shot, it got cut. 5 minutes on lunch break, I get a call. I booked HBO Max's The Staircase. And then I also get a call. I booked Shirley with Regina King. That'll be coming out soon. Bruh, but I was still like, oh man, they cut my role. I had a recurring role on Chicago Med. And the next thing you know, bruh, for the 7th season, they used my scene 4 more times that season. I've talked to actors that I've never seen that done. And it was so pivotal. So, you know, things happen for a good reason, bro. And I got checks for all of those times they used it, and I'm still getting residuals, you know. And so you got to like you say, we got to understand what we're there for. And and that you made your presence. So it's not in what you're saying, that part was so, and that's what I wanted to share with you, that don't worry, bro, they're gonna have you back. And I kept saying, remember I said, trust me, they're gonna have you back. And man, I remember my first time this season, 24th season on Law and Order SVU, I'm sitting talking with Ice-T, and Ice-T, you know, he just dropping jewels, and I'm picking up everyone and putting them in, and he was just saying, like, he had, oh my God, I draw a blank every time I get ready to say the story about who he got the lesson from. But he played Cool Hand Luke, if anybody can think of it. I cannot think of his name now, the actor name. Very popular guy. But anyway, he said that he was on set with him one day, and he said, "Listen, because people were ragging him about when he first got on SVU the 1 or 2 liners. It's funny because I just seen Mike Epps do a stand up about that, and it was like he told Ice, man, he's like, listen, it's not about how many lines you have. He says it's about how memorable you are, you know.
Right.
And so if you think about it, man, you know, Clint Eastwood, yes, he's in a lot of movies, but you know, he became popular for all these one-liners, you know. And so with that being said, I'm always listening to that. So people don't understand the value of the one line, and I've talked about this before. So you had no lines, but you were still SAG, and you know
SAG
what I'm
eligible.
saying?
SAG eligible, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying, that made you SAG eligible, but what I'm saying, the role was SAG. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
SAG role. So you're still going to collect residuals off of that, even though you didn't get even though they cut your lines, you did it.
Yeah.
And because it was SAG. And so your children and your grandchildren will benefit for this long after you're gone. And then even with no lines, they're running marathons on Ion, USA, NBC, Peacock. Brother, you're going to get a check, and then you'll be able to look back and be like, I ain't have no lines. They cut all my lines, but they didn't cut my pay. And that's the value in the residual. So understanding that, before I jump to that still, you know, Officer Gant, what I want to talk about, man, you've done some other stuff, brother, that's noteworthy, man. We got Mr. Marvel in the house, man. I seen you doing some stunt work. How did your experience land that for you?
How was my experience? That was it's still unreal to me, honestly. I did Chicago PD, then I went into doing a couple other things, and then Marvel came about around July or something like that. Where I had to send in a quick audition to Marvel because the casting director asked for me through my agent, and I didn't know what the role was because it's always you know,
they don't tell you too much.
You'll never know what the project is or the role. Hey, we want you to audition or submit for this. And so that's what happened. And I'm like, what the beautiful thing about it is beforehand, like I got a vision board right next to me. And you know, it was just on my spirit to write down. It's always on my spirit to write down certain things on there and pray, whether it's for people or for desires or you know, just other things, affirmations. And so I wrote down Marvel. I wrote it on there. This was like a month or so before, month or two.
God. Yes.
Before I just wrote Marvel on there, and it was just on my spirit. And I this is something I wanted to do. I gave it to God. And then, you know, working, doing other projects, and then my agent got the email or got the call, and they wanted me out there ASAP. And then I found out it was for. They said, you know, it's acting, but it's going to be a stand-in for, or acting double, not stand-in, acting double for Jonathan Majors Ant-Man. I was like, what?
Crazy. Right.
What?
Right.
And that's when I was like, yo, I lost it. I was like, and so what that means, acting double, for those of you who don't know, it's not a stand-in. It is a stand-in, but it's not. You have lines.
It's a little bit hot.
Yeah. It's a principal role, and you're pretty much just standing in for the person who was the main. In case it was for Michelle Pfeiffer for a reshoot for her scenes. But here's the thing about it. A lot of people don't know. I booked two things that same time. It was Quantum Leap, and it was Marvel on the exact same day they needed me. And so my agent and I had to make a decision whether to go with Quantum Leap or Marvel. Quantum Leap, I had a on-screen role promised, you know what I mean? And then Marvel is the complete opposite, right? You know, you're standing behind the camera, but you're still, you know, in character and stuff. And I was like, you know what? let's do Marvel. He was like, yep, I knew you was gonna say that. So we went with Marvel, and Quantum Leap was disappointed, but they moved on to somebody else. You can, that's just how it is. And it wasn't meant for me. It was meant for that other person, but it was a blessing. Yeah.
Boom. That's perfect, brother.
Yeah.
You explained that well, because I was about to step in and say something, and that's what we have to understand. It's like, if you don't get a role, so man, I won't make the long story, but anyway, I remember starting off and being in a lot of interviews with Claire Simons, and the short end of that is Claire Simons only auditioned 5 people for every one role. So that means you're out the equation. That means you're only up against 4 people for your role when you go in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 5 people auditioning for one role. Now, it's not just in Chicago. It's actors all around the world. You got over 300,000 actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many put in for that one role. And
Right.
you make it in the room. I just told a brother that today that asked me about this. And I said, man, the fact that you were in the room to audition, you've already a winner.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to make a decision. I started off early in my career too. You get an opportunity, and then like you get this one. It's like, what do I do? And I call my agents, and it's like, well, what do you want to do, Aqeel? What do you think you want to do? And I'm like, I wanted them to make this decision for me. It's like, no, what you want to do? And I was like, And you know what? You got to make a decision,
Right.
Stick with it, and that's what it is. And I'm glad that you chose that. That we going back to the faith thing again. See, not the faith thing, but the faith. And I like how you said that too. That other role was meant for somebody else. So we have to understand that when we go up and we don't get roles, ain't nobody got your role. It wasn't yours. And that's why I let people know, it's like, no, people didn't block you from getting a role. Trust me, if God wanted you to have that role, you would have that role. So we don't have to be cutthroat or anything. You get what's yours, because we talked about the independent industry. Now, you know how sought after were you in the independent world? Were you one of these people that shot like 20 films, like some of our brothers and sisters we know, or were you one that shot a few films?
I shot a few
See what
in
I'm
Detroit.
saying?
Yeah.
Now, but this is not what they call it. This is not shade, but
yeah.
we know a lot of them that are good friends of ours that have shot like 20 movies, and they keep being recurring people in certain productions and other productions, right? I've never hated on anyone. Never hated when I didn't get hired, and I specifically know productions that didn't hire me for whatever reasons, too old for a role or didn't think that fine. And so there was this book, and it was also in CD form. There was a book called Who Moved My Cheese? I forgot the author's name. Had it years ago and read it, had the CD. And basically in a nutshell, it says that, like a mouse. It's like, every day for however long, this is where you go to feed. This is where you go to get your cheese. Now, once the cheese is gone, there's no need to keep going to that same spot trying to get cheese where there's no cheese there. You got to move. So, who moved my cheese? You got to go to where your cheese is. And so you, like I, finally decided, but I want to, and not that we weren't seeking to do more then, but we realized that we wanted to do more, and so we put in the effort to go do more, to level up. It's what got us to where we are now. And we know that in order to get to that level, we had to do certain things. We had to take acting classes. Now, I bring Sheik back up because, and when people ask me, what acting class should I take? I say Sheik Mahmoud's base classes when he come to Detroit, Atlanta, New York, Cali. Why? Because when you study this man's history, you study his filmography, he's been on television multiple times. He worked with the greats. He won't say it, but I'm going to say it. He worked with like Morgan Freeman, Robert De Niro, all these people.
Right.
He's done movies with them. He's done television shows. So why not go to an acting coach that has that experience for where you want to go? You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you're in the independent sector and that's what you want to do, then you can go to those acting classes because that's what they do. But it's like going to a dentist that never pulled teeth. Doesn't make
Okay.
sense. You know what I'm saying? If this is what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
like you have an education, and this is where you went. You went there because it provided you with something, the fitness training. You didn't go to culinary art school, you know.
Yeah.
So brother, listen. With all that said, and choosing these roles, right? So you're in this Dick Wolf universe, and things have a way of just coming back around. And I look up on my TV last week, and here it is. I see Officer Gant. How did that come about?
So when I did the Equalizer, the director was Benny Boom. He's a music director, music video director.
There
and
was some history there, brother.
Yeah. Benny Boom is really dope. I mean, he's pretty much a legend. Yeah, in the music world and directing. So he directed an episode with Queen Latifah and I, and we bonded. We you know, from jump, it's like we knew each other for however long, you know. And so I did good work on there. And you always want to just do your best work, because that makes an impression around everybody else. You never know who's watching.
Absolutely.
So don't go half-ass and you know, whatever with anybody, because you got to give it all you got if you really want it. And so it went. We shot Equalizer. It went well, and then, you know, I'm thinking Chicago PD. You know, you hear the saying, like, you know, once you get into Chicago PD, you're part of the world, but then you probably won't get another role on PD or something like that for a couple years, right? Or med, you can't work med or fire for the next couple of years. That's what I was told.
Yeah, it's like a 2-year. So Dick Wolf does that
right.
on with the Chicago series, as I was told. Now, I managed to ease by the first couple of times. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
And then they caught me.
Yeah. But I didn't conform to that statement, because I'm like, you know, anything is possible.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm like telling my agent, you know, the next audition you get from Chicago PD, you got to tell them that you was already on it. I'm like, well, yeah, tell them, but you know, you never know. We can see if we can get back on there. So
that's right.
So then, if come to find out, Benny Boom is directing that one too.
Oh man,
Benny Boom is directing that one, and it was right after Equalizer, which was like, whoa. So I auditioned and you know, did what you're supposed to do. Benny Boom was he was like, yo, send me the tape, and I'm like, wow. And so I auditioned to the casting director. On top of that, Benny Boom was like, send me the tape, and yeah, and that's how it went down. So he pretty much fought for me to get on that show as well.
Wait a minute. Wait. No. Pump the brakes. Hold on.
I auditioned.
The legendary Benny Boom fought for you to get on PD. You know how do you guys listening, do you understand how powerful that is? You work on one project. Yes, Heather. How you doing, love? Heather said favor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Favor ain't fair. And so, but it's also not a but. However, we gotta remember, and this is something I tell people, your professionalism, brother. It wasn't just that, it was your professionalism.
Right.
Remember we was talking about how you worked on the scene, because you were a guest star on Equalizer. You had multiple, not just multiple scenes where you were just seen, brother. You were, I mean, I'm saying, after Latifah bust your lip, she was making you talk forever. You know what I'm saying? So she had you in the other scenes and stuff. You were killing it. You had a lot of lines throughout. You know what I'm saying? And that was, a joke about the busting lip, but she roughed you up. But you were the connect. You were like the plug to everything else that was going on. You were a vital point, and you handled that responsibility with care, like a true professional. Trust me, Benny Boom being a director, like any other director, sitting here looking like, this guy is so easy to work with. I had him do this, boom, he nailed it. And why not, brother? Why wouldn't I, if I get a chance to work with you again, why wouldn't Benny Boom fight for you?
work. Listen, it could be me going up for that role, and I've never worked with Benny Boone yet. And I say yet. However, he's worked with you, and no matter how good, it's like, but I know Antoine. I know his work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I might get a shot, but it's like, come on, man. Relationships, professionalism.
Listen, it's all about who you know, but it's also about staying true to who you are at the same time and doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know, just because you might know somebody, but if you didn't make a good impression on yourself and other people, it won't make no difference. So,
man, yeah. I've been on set with actors, man. They get a role, brother, and they start even not just in the independent world. This is happening with me on major sets. They get on and they start trying to direct you. Like, I think you should say your line this way. Like, what? Mm-hmm. And I don't like anybody messing with my energy at all, even in auditions. And I'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, man, and it tears up. If you've been on set, whether it's independent or major, you know how it is when you get one of them spirits on set, and they're trying to direct now and trying to tell people what they should be doing. It's like, that's not your job. They have specific people even to bring you a cup of water, to take your food order, to come get you from the trailer, to take you to the set, to hold the to hold the boom. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just do it, as you said it in the beginning, just do the job that you're supposed to do.
Yeah. And yeah.
So go ahead, brother. You said so, Officer Gant.
Yeah, so Benny Boone. And I'm still going up against other actors. And, it doesn't matter because it matters, but it doesn't matter because I'm still working. You still do the
still got to do the work.
Still got to do the project, no matter what. But then, whatever project that you worked on last, and that's just with anything, whatever job. You do good work, you do your job, you build relationships, and you keep it moving. And so then that became recurring for me on Chicago PD in the same year. In the same year, so season 9, and then I did season 10 back to back. Where here I'm thinking I was putting my ear. You won't be able to work for 2 years or be back on it for a couple of years, and I'm like, no, bump that. Let's see.
That's what I said.
Yes. Yeah. So then,
you can't buy into what everybody is saying, because that's what they kept saying. How'd you get that? I went from a immigration attorney to the FBI. It's like, but you done been on. It's like, man, listen, man, what God has for you. I think somebody said, I think Kimmy Jean said, what God has for you, and Heather said favor. Yeah, brother. So, like your situation, you had the director speaking up for you. Benny Boone, legendary. That's a great plug to have. Now watch this. Benny Boone is gonna be directing a million more projects.
Yeah.
Now, you're already smiling because you know what I'm about to say. Who do you think is gonna be one of the first people he think of when it comes down to roles like that or something even similar?
Maybe.
Hey, I got a man to call. Hold on, boom. Nah, trust me. And I'm gonna tell you like I told Reggie, because Reggie's episode will be on tomorrow.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you like I told him. So you have become a recurring actor now on Chicago PD with your role last week. They're gonna have you back again, brother. It ain't no maybe if not. I'm telling you now.
This time it sounds familiar.
Told you that. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you again, they will have you back.
Appreciate it.
Because that's man. Again, it was a blessing. I landed. Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, brother, I was like, well, this could be it. But with I can't tell everybody everything that happened that day and all the conversation that went on, but it was a weird, good energy. And I called my agent, I called my manager, and I was like, look, Brandon, let me tell you, man, this is because he called me, he was like, so who put the picture out? I said, Mariska did. He's like, what? He's like, man, I had to tell him the story all over again. I might have told him like back to back like 3 times. And he says, something is going on. I said, man, I didn't talk too much. I can tell you that. I tried to talk less, you know what I'm saying? But man, they treated me like I had been there all 24 seasons.
Yeah.
And so then, lo and behold, now when I went over to FBI, I did have an audition, right? But when I got the call for Law and Order, I didn't have the audition. When I got the second one, they just brought me back. And
That's
something happened.
beautiful. That's
You
beautiful.
see what I'm saying? Thank you,
Beautiful.
brother.
That's God.
And that's God, right? And so what I'm saying to you is this: when I was on the first time, the director, Norberto Barber, we were doing this, and we were talking about lines, and he told me, he said, "Aqeel, you got this," because they switched some stuff up for me. That, and like you said, they switched some stuff. He's like, "You got this. You do this all the time. You're a professional."
Right.
Cool. The thing that got me was the beat and pace for Law and Order dialogue is rapido. You'll see the same thing on Chicago Med. It's got a pace. Law and Order sits a little bit above. And these are the things that I say that people are not studying. They want to be on the shows, but they're not actually studying beforehand. You know, you can't get in there and do a lot of inflections like you were, you know, I won't spoil it for everybody, but you were working with a coffee cup in you know, in this new scene, and you were doing some other things, and you can't lose track. You gotta remember that you got something in the cup. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be, you know, handling the cup. I see a lot of actors, you know, with the more experienced actors, sometimes they still just fumbling over the cup. We gotta remember, there's a lot of things with acting. So I'm telling you, you will be back, brother. You will be back. How we looking on your time?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
You good? Oh, okay.
Great.
Hey, man, I love you.
You know,
brother.
more people. It's like it seems like more people are tapping in. So you know, I guess you know, people want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so great, man. I'm glad because, man, I hate feeling like I'm rushed. But so you, gosh, there's one specific question I want to ask you. Can you think of something that you do want to share about yourself?
Say it one more time.
Do you have something you want to share about yourself? That's something that you need to share or want to share for the people that know about you that they might not know at this point.
I like to take long walks on the beach.
Why?
Because I think it's just it's a way to connect with yourself and with God. You know what I mean? It's just being by the water and everything like that. It was a joke at first, but then you're like, what? But why? Yeah,
you know, you can't talk to me like that. That's my realm. So I'm, you know, I know you
gotta be
guys
ready for whatever.
Man.
You gotta improv whatever. I have great people around me. I'm always looking to be a blessing to somebody else. I love helping people. Anything I can do, you know, I'm always, you know, willing to lend a hand if it's right. You know what I mean? I just have a given, cheerful heart, and I just love to see people win.
So my word is service.
Service. I love being and that's why I got into being a trainer and massage therapist, because I wanted to serve. You know what I mean? It just had a heart.
Hold on now. Wait a minute. Hold on. You brothers always get up here and you slide some stuff by here. We got all these women up here. You just said you single. You said, I love, you know, massages, and I love, you know, giving service. Yeah. Let's clear that up, man. The young people would say pause. Like, what is this guy talking about? Yeah. No, so no, for real. On a serious note though, how does
your education and experiences being a trainer and massage therapist, how does that play into your acting?
Learning about the body, learning about different mechanics of the body, and how it works and what we do naturally as humans. That helped out the whole anatomy.
Great word. Natural.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna give away an acting secret here.
Sure.
You know, most of the time, you know, people are doing auditions, and this is the thing that I say that's missing and what you don't get when a lot, and I'm not, you know, again, I don't want to throw shade. What I'm doing is really attempting to get people to understand going to the next level, what you might not get in the independent world, because if you haven't been in front of major auditions, they're looking for different things. They're looking for different things. And so there are some projects that require you, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you're delivering your dialogue, you never look into the camera. That's what you call breaking the fourth wall. All right. So then there's, you know, you have dialogue and you're staring at the person the entire time. Now,
Right.
depends on how long the dialogue is. Let's be for real. In your human existence, how many times have you really had an in-depth conversation with somebody and you just staring at them the entire time? Yeah, and Tina said this and Tina said that and da-da-da-da-da, and we went to the store and came back. You know, and especially if it's in-depth and it's a soul-searching thing, you know, generally what you do, you telling it, you know, it's like, you know, I mean, I was hooked on drugs and, I mean, I had this battle, I was chasing God and, you know, I was doing this and everything, and yeah, that's what happened. Then the other person is talking, so you're listening to them, and then, yeah, I don't know, man. My father wasn't there, and, you know, this and this and that. And that's how we communicate. Then when we finish, we come back and look. Now you got to make the choice whether or not your character does that for auditions or not. That's why I say it's all about choices. If you look on my Mpowered Mindz page where I drop acting tips, I talk about these things, making choices. And so your audition for you making choices, what are some of the, maybe not challenges, but what are some of the things that you have to call into existence when you're making choices? What are the things you have to think about, or what is the massage therapy and the personal trainer saying to you?
Well, I know my biggest thing was, well, number one, you learn that film is in the eye. You know what I mean? You want the audience to appreciate what you are thinking, what you are feeling. You know, they want to connect with you in that. So it's all in the eyes. So you're making these different, you're auditioning, you want to always be conscious of where the camera is and obviously not to look at the camera unless they ask you to.
Right.
And just being moment to moment with the person you're talking to, but also having just being natural. I feel like when I get into a scene with somebody, and people, I'm conscious of my movement. Number one, because you got to be for continuity.
Right.
Number two,
Right. Absolutely.
for continuity, and number two, you know, body language is communication. So when massage therapy helped me with and personal training, I'm able to see, you know, just feel the person out, listen to their, not only, you know, from talking to them or responding to me or whatever, but just their body language. So they really enhance that. So I'm grateful to have learned more about the human, you know, the anatomy. So help with that. Then acting just made it, okay, wow, really just staying still, being present, just like you're doing right now, and you listening. You know, we're not doing all this.
Right.
Happens, but you just, if you want people to appreciate you, you got to stay here. You got to stay here and be conscious of when you're looking away and doing all this, because you want to appreciate that person who you're talking to. Right. I naturally just do this anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I naturally just do that when I may not stare at them the whole time like this, but yeah, you just have to know yourself. You got to know.
And, you know, good point, because, you know, I'm one of those people, I'm touchy-feely, and I talk with my hands. So that was something I had to learn. Another good tip is for people to go back and look at your old auditions. Yeah. So even though I continue to book, I go back and look at old auditions, because you know what I found out that I was doing that I didn't realize after probably about 4 years of acting? I realized that when I was auditioning, I had my head tilted. And when I talk, I was like, yeah, so the whole, and then I was back in that. So, you know, the day that I sat down, went back through all those auditions, I was like, it hit me. I was like, wait a minute. So I went back to the other one, I was like, why am I talking with my head tilted like this? And I'm like, wow. So then I started thinking, man, it's amazing that they hired me. And then I also thought about, for the roles that I didn't get booked, I was like, well, maybe that's the reason I didn't get booked. You know? And then some people talk out the side of their mouth. You know, they talk, you know, they don't, you know, if you have that disability, I'm not talking to you, but, you know, it's like that street thing, you know what I'm saying? Tough guy talking out your mouth. That ain't gonna cut it on camera unless you're specifically doing a role like that.
Yeah, I mean, unless you know, unless it's the character.
Right.
Whatever it is, right? So,
so we have
yeah,
a lot of things to be very conscious of, you know. And
moving
we're
to
talking like
doing all this. My thing was, and she actually helped me, and just really studying people on screen. I used to move so much, use my head, used to do all that, blink a lot.
That was what I was going to hit.
You know,
what's the idea about blinking? You know, right? Tell them.
The idea about blinking. Well, for me, I know it was more like you just can't appreciate the person in eyes, or you're trying to figure out your dialogue or something like that. But what were you saying?
So the thing that I learned, and I watch with a lot of people. Well, actually, I just learned that because I've been actually trained to study people, you know, through my specialized service and things like that. And so one of the things is so I'll say this to you. It's like this. It's like get off the couch. Get off the couch and go mow the grass.
Oh, well, right, yeah.
Versus, get off the couch. Get off the couch and go mow the grass. That all that blinking takes the power away.
Yeah, it takes the power away. Yeah, right. Or having your head down, or sitting back.
Yeah, right. And those are postures, and those are things that those are things that in my training we call them interview techniques and interrogation techniques.
Right.
You watch people's postures. I look at people who can tell when they're lying because they either looking up to the right before they answer, or look up to the left, and all these things that happen in your frontal lobe, and all these things, and so all of these things. What I'm saying, brother, is what help us land roles. That people ask you, what's the secret? And it's like, I really don't have a secret. It's an amalgamation or collage of everything that you've learned in your life that you got to put in play. And so you landed a police officer, but you've never been a police officer, have you? So, but your massage therapy and training teaches you discipline.
Yeah, it does. It does. But also talking to, like, say, okay, for instance, I never been a police officer, but I picked other police officers' brains. You know what I mean? I sat down and talked to them before I did NARC, before I did Chicago PD, even more when I did Chicago PD too as well. I would hit up a couple guys, who are police officers or lieutenants or whatever, and pick their brain and like just sit down with them or have a phone conversation with them. Just ask them, like, how does your process work when it comes to doing what you do, X, Y, and Z. Like I had to pull from somewhere, I had to study, I had to know from somewhere. And so then when you get on those sets, you have a what do you call it, technical advisor. So you have people who like, hey, don't hold the gun like this, hold it like this. And so you're pulling from all different ways. So that's what I did as well.
I did. Yeah, and I'm glad to hear what you say.
No, I study mannerisms, how they talk, how posture, how they wear their uniform, their belts, and everything like that. What rank, how they get to their rank, what schooling, all that goes into play. Oh, even if it was just a couple lines, because that's what I did for my character. That's
beautiful, man. You were like one of the first ones that I heard that, and so I'm a former law enforcement officer in a few divisions, and it's amazing because I've been on projects and let people know, and they've never asked me one thing about it. Maybe later on, they did. It's like they're doing things, and I'm sitting there, man, and my insides are falling apart, man. Like, I remember too when I first started off acting, I auditioned for this series, and I won't say too much about it because I don't want to shame them. But anyway, this is early on in my career.
probably the first or second year. And I had my wife with me. She was on the outside the door. And it was crazy because the dialogue between, it was myself and another guy. We were supposed to be partners. And I guess they had already chosen him because of the director's friend. And so, you know, he was auditioning for his partner. And man, the dialogue was cursing like every 3 words. And man, I started not to do it. But, you know, I got to admit, I was so disappointed with myself afterwards for doing it. I should have turned it down. But I did it because I was new, and I'm not going to lie to anybody. I did it because I was new, and I wanted to land a job. And I was like, oh, this is going to be it. And it was like one of the worst auditions ever, man. Like, I did it, but I felt so dirty. And I kept thinking, my wife is out here, and I know she's going to blast me when I come out. And so, finally, you know, the guy... So I did this scene and everything, man, and the director was like, oh, my God. He was walking around the room, and I was like, what? He's like, oh, my God. Man, that is incredible. Man, you were perfect. He's like, man, I ain't even supposed to say this. And all the, you know, the other assistants and everything was looking at him like, yo, what is going on with you? You ain't supposed to be saying all that to him. And he just went on and told me right then I had the part, man. And so, you know, we just talked. So then the next thing he does, man, he goes into talking about like what the next episode gonna be. So he's like, yo, so the next episode, man, so, you know, y'all gonna be here. You're gonna have women, man, boom, they're gonna be butt naked. Now he's saying all of this out loud, and I'm thinking, my wife is on the outside. And I'm like, y'all gonna be doing this, then the camera gonna come back. And it got to the point where the people assisting him was like, I was like, no, I know I can't be a part of this, man. I feel shame. But the point I was getting to, brother, was that I said, once we got to all that point, I said, and I was like, I knew I was pushing it in. I said, you mind if I give you some professional, constructive criticism? He was like, yeah. Go ahead. So I said, look, I've, you know, I have the experience of a law enforcement officer, specialized training, you know, retired Marine, Gulf War veteran, all that stuff. I just ran that little short bit down to him, you know, told him I got a master's in criminal justice. I'm a former professor of criminal justice. And so I said that to, you know, so he can understand that I know what I'm talking about. And I said, but, man, he said, what's up, man? He said, go ahead and say it. I said, man, this dialogue, I said, we don't talk to people. We don't talk to each other like this. I said, why does everybody think, every time I see a show, it's like they got the officers cussing 100 miles an hour. I said, you got to understand this. When we're in the car with each other and we are partners, or whether we work on the same shift together, like you and I, we can just about finish each other's sentences without saying anything. You know my family, you know my kids, I know yours. So our conversation is not like every word, every time we say something, we just cuss 100 miles an hour.
Right.
It's just dead space. So I was telling him that. So he said, oh, man, interesting. But anyway, I declined that project, man. It was a long ride home, boy, with my wife.
Oh, really?
But, yeah, oh, yeah, man. And so, you know, these are the things that we have to consider, too, when we're taking these roles.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, because the role you take is going to be what you represent. You know, people going to be looking. Your mother's going to be looking at it. Are you going to feel good about that? You know, I know we say, but it's acting. But I just tell people this. If you accept the role, then I expect for you to play the role. Because somebody else would have taken and done it justice if you're going to slack, if you got all these reservations now. You understand what I'm saying? Or before you start shooting or whatever, or before you start getting the table, please turn it down. You know? You know, and it's okay. You got to be okay with it. Listen, let me ask you this. What is so in the independent world, you pretty much book because you know people or you do good work, and there's a lot of production, especially like here in Michigan. And how are you with understanding getting into the SAG ranks now? Because you're SAG now, right? So understanding now that the roles don't come as fast. And maybe the auditions even slowed up a little, but you know when you hit, you hit. How was that adjustment?
For me, like transitioning into that world, it wasn't like people say one thing, but then everybody's experience is different. So for me, I know my first year after getting an agent and still non-union, I haven't done any SAG projects yet. Auditions coming like crazy. And just because I did good work I did okay work doing local independent film. And so, your resume speaks for yourself or your work or your scenes and stuff like that or clips. And so it wasn't hard for me personally. I was getting auditions all the time, but around pilot season, that's when it's kind of slow a little bit. But when it's dead time like that, you just keep. What I do is continue to read, take classes when I can. Like I just got done taking Sheets class, reading books, working with other actors, auditioning, picking up scripts, reading them, sides that I already have, watching a bunch of film and TV. Doing it's all kind of things, even when you're not getting auditions, because obviously it's a different world.
Right.
But creating your own, producing and working on creating your own brand in itself.
Right. Glad you said that, because I was going to hit that too. And that's the part where it comes in about promotion. I've said this a number of times, like, man, people have gotten upset with me. I don't broadcast, but people have gotten upset with me, man, for the way that I promote myself, like in the past. And then they started seeing that it was benefiting me. And then I've had some people that come and ask me, like, man, how did you learn how to promote? That was through trial and error, but also I'm a business major as well. And so, it's marketing, you know what I'm saying? And things like that. And I always tell them, look, when you go outside, if you ride down the street or you go to a shopping plaza, that's all you see is promotion. Supermarket here, you got Kroger's, Meyer, you got Guitar Center, you got the theater. Everybody has their name out there. They got commercials and everything.
Yeah.
And so you got to promote yourself that same way. Me promoting myself earlier on, I had directors reach out to me, even shooting commercials. They was like, listen, I got this project, and I saw your headshot posted. You have a lovely headshot and a beautiful smile and dimples. I know, I see you working a lot. I just wanted to know if you would come and work for me. I was like, yes. And then to pass on, like when I work on another project, they was like, oh, Aqeel, welcome. I'm like, I don't know these people, but they know me. They know my name. And because they'll tell me later on, it's like, yeah, I know so-and-so. I was the PA on this one, but now they the AD on this.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what we talked about, those relationships. Right. And people don't understand it. So it's also about, now, like you're in the Dick Wolf universe now, baby, Wolf Entertainment. Trust and believe they're watching what you're posting on your Facebook and all that. They want to see how we represent them. Mm-hmm. And if you're
posting a bunch of crazy stuff and they're looking like, because listen, in a franchise, let's see, once we become series regulars, whether it's in the ones we're in now or our next shows that we're going to be in, you hear what I said, right? So if you do something crazy, one person can kill the entire series if it's built around you, or it can hurt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we have to be conscious. It's like that representation, your brand. And so,
right.
Listen, brother, one or two more questions I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
What does how important is a good reader for these auditions?
A good reader is very important because number one, the cast and directors want you to make sure that, well, if you're doing Zoom, like majority of my auditions are through Zoom. So I have like somebody on the other video or whatever. You got to be loud. They got to project, but you don't want to overstep the person who's auditioning. Make sure to hit the right pace, hit the right flow at the same time. But I always like to work with readers who are actors.
Again,
or who are already in the business. That way things will flow. Hey, take a couple notes, try it this way, or do what you did before, or try something new. You just want to. Readers are important. They are important because, yeah. But
they'll kill your audition. You can have
it will kill your audition.
You can have the best knowledge of your lines and everything, but it doesn't give you that energy. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes you can run up on a reader that's trying to audition themselves. So they're all, theatrical, and it's like, hey, my man, what's this? Can you just read the lines? Because, I remember my earlier on auditions with Claire, what I was expecting, I didn't get. And so when they got in the room, it's like you get this dead stare and they just read. And you're sitting there like, I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to do this. And they was like, it's okay, all right. And then they just start reading again, and you like,
yeah.
And I was like, man.
Yeah,
so when you hit that X in the room, be ready. The audition is starting,
Right, yeah, because you can read one way, then they ask you to a callback is what they call it, callback, and I did that for Chicago Fire, where that was really the only time I did a live in-person network audition. I mean, live Zoom network audition, and you just whatever you did in audition, just do it the same way. But sometimes the reader could be stale, and these are network professional people or casting directors, whoever. It may be stale, but you gotta just stick to what you were already doing, and don't expect if they might read a certain way, react to how they read it. Yeah.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
Question.
So, this is good talk. Good talk.
Great. I would go on, man, but I want to respect your time, and I know we both got some other things because I know I do too. But is it a bad thing or a good thing when you're in the room and you're auditioning and the director said, okay, try this way. Can you do it this way? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a great thing.
Why? Didn't you mess up? Why? Why would you say it's a good thing? Talk to me.
Because that means they're interested in what you're giving to the character, and so they want to see. They already have this thing about the character in mind, or if they brought you in the room alone, that's a great sign. So if they ask you to do it differently or try it this way, that means they want to work with you. You know what I mean? Even if they don't book you, they want to work with you. So, yeah.
Yes. When the director is asking you that stuff, to piggyback on what you're saying, they're letting you know, they're seeing if you can take direction.
If you can take direction, simple as that. Yeah.
Again, my
most
first episode on Law and Order. Again, I had the line, and my natural feel kicked in because of the law enforcement, and I don't know if you guys see that episode, but anyway, there's I'm going through the lines, we're walking down. Now, the first part of the scene was not even in the audition, so when you talk about adding things, sometimes they'll add scenes and write lines on the spot.
Yeah.
And I had to get that right on the spot, which was a blessing. Now you're moving and you're walking and talking. You got to be able to have this. For me, that was easy because it's like, again, because of my experience, this is just what we do. So I had to just learn to, because at first I was attempting to act, when we first started this career, and then now it's like, just be you, because I heard this from Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman said at one point of your life or the second career, you'll learn to just be natural. You'll learn to use your own voice and just use your presence and coordinate, bring that into the role that you're playing. And I truly believe that, and I know that's what has helped me. I've get a lot of compliments on, like, you're so natural. Now, I can't tell you everybody says that, but most of the time, the stuff that I've worked on, people say that. I had an experience, so I was talking about that experience with walking and talking on this last episode. When we were shooting it, we were setting up to shoot it, and so they was bringing me in, and I got Mariska, Ice-T, my new guy Kevin Kane in,
which is dope. Which is dope. I know you ain't finna pass it up, but that's dope.
Thank you, brother. But yeah, so we're working on the scene, but this is going on. I don't want to spoil the scene in case people had the episode. But anyway, so I'm looking, and the scene comes over, and so I didn't really, Marissa's like right here, and Ice is right. Everybody's all around me, and I didn't realize that the spirit of what was going on proceeded out of my mouth. I was actually talking it out when I was doing it, and I said, wow, this is so familiar. Now, Marissa and Ice T and them learned on the first encounter and everything about my entire career, because they still didn't know the gist of it, and so, which was how I said the lines at first, and the brother was like, nah, just say the lines. And I explained to him, like, man, even in law enforcement, when something happens to a child, it's a different feel. So even the way I delivered it was like, oh, so what about the daughter? And I was like, I took a pause, because it was like, no, what happens? Like, 14-year-old daughter, family en route to mercy. Because I felt it, man. This is a 14-year-old that just got assaulted and things. But keeping in mind with the pace of things, the story tells itself. So the brother was like, yeah, Aqeel, just go ahead and say it. And I was like, in my head, it started messing with me, because I was like, but it don't sound right. And it's, and Marissa, she just looked at me and she was like, no problem, baby. Listen, everybody, every coach, every guest on this comes on the show goes through the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then in between scene, Ice was like, yeah, just do what you do, man. Ice, just do what you do. And I was like, and I was telling him, I said, man, I broke that what I just told you down to him, and he says, yeah, I could see that because I saw it take over you. And so now in this last episode that I did, when I spoke it out, Mariska looks at me and she said, what did you say? And I said, oh, I didn't realize I was speaking it out. And she's like, what'd you say? And I said, wow, this is all so familiar. And she's like, you had a case like this? And I said, yeah, just like this. And she said, what happened? So I explained it to her. I said, yeah, it was a lot more going on in this and this and this. She was like, wow. So there's a level of respect that I gained for my knowledge, because, they told me, it's like, yeah, all of us are actors. We've never done any of this stuff, and you actually have the experience. So it felt good to get that respect, and for those seasoned actors to say that.
Right.
I got that same experience when I shot Staircase. The director asked somebody else told them that I had experience, and they listened to me guide the scene. And I was like, wow. But I never throw that out there. I'm just gonna play my part,
Right.
But that helps us. That's why I was saying, with your background. Yeah, bro. So that was the last question, man. I could go on and on. It's on you. I'll take another 10 or 15 minutes if you want to. Or if you got something you want to share.
I gotta get out of here. But
okay, me too. I just wanted to see if you got something on your mind.
Oh, yeah. For anybody out there, actor, artist, whatever you do, just give everything 100%, 110% at that. Keep your faith in what you do. Keep faith in God. Never give up. Don't listen to nobody, what they say, whether it's don't listen to nobody. Don't listen to nobody who's not, who's not you. You know what I mean? You got to think for yourself and be around the people who you're supposed to be. Number one, that's very important. The company you are, the company that you keep.
Amen. And as you level up, you like you said, man, that was perfect, brother. You nailed it. As you level up, you can still have your friends and things, but honestly, in this business, I learned this years ago. You might not be rich, but if you hang around with 9 rich people, chances of sooner or later one day you're gonna be rich. But if you're hanging around with 9 broke people, you already know what you're gonna get. So the same thing in this acting world. You always want to, and you never want to be in a room where you're the smartest. You always want to be in the room, and I'm a self-professed Philipper, someone that loves a lifetime of learning, and you always want to be able to be instructed. You always want to be a person that can accept change and constructive criticism. And that's what's going to help you grow, especially in this acting world. Man, bruh, you know I love you, man. You know, you almost like my blood brother, you know, if I was to say. And
Same here.
the relationship that we built, and people, I will tell you this. I will tell you this. Find someone that you can actually talk to that's going to set you straight. And when I say set you straight, it's going to give you the real, that if you're auditioning and they send you something to look at, to where you actually give them constructive criticism. And I said this to a brother that we know the other day, man. I was like, be careful who you're sending your auditions to for people to review. You know, it's sort of hard trying to get something, you know, trying to ask somebody, well, you're doing a disservice to yourself. It's like, if a person's never acted before and you're sending them something and you're asking them how to, you know, how does this look? It's like, they don't know what they're looking for. So likewise, whether you're independent or major industry, get the people that are on your level or above your level, that are more familiar with it, so you know what to do. I'm telling you, this audition room learning is something much more different than just going to a regular acting class. You really need to have training on just audition room techniques. Some of you are blowing your audition in the parking lot and don't even know it. Is that right, bro? Yeah, you're blowing in the parking lot. People are watching you even on the ride over. The van driver.
You never know who's watching.
Yeah, the secretary, you know. So, yeah, people on the elevator that you don't have nothing to do, but you know, you don't know who is who. Could be the director's daughter or his brother or sister. And so, brother, listen, man, I thank you. You know there'll be a part 2, and you got anything going on that you can talk about? Because I know we always got stuff in the bag we can't release. Anything that you can talk about that's coming soon, or something we didn't cover?
No, just the episode of Chicago PD came out last Monday. If you didn't check it out, it's episode 13, season 10, episode 13, The Ghost in You. So, and then Marvel just released Ant-Man, and so I'm so grateful for that and what's to come.
Go ahead, boy.
Ant-Man. So yeah, other than that, I'm just auditioning. I'm still working. Still working. Hear what I got to do.
And are you full-time? You're a full-time actor?
Full-time actor? Yeah, full-time actor.
You're a full-time actor and you have a job. That's to be applauded.
Full-time job, full-time actor, entrepreneur. So don't always have multiple things that you're doing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it was a blessing to be on here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. I just thought, and I didn't say the disclaimer at the beginning of the show, brother, but to end it out, again, you know, I love you, man. I love you as a human, and I love you as a brother, and I love you as a believer in Christ. I figured the best way for me to continue my service is to share my platform with other people that are doing like I am, and people that I know that would be genuine and would share their experiences to people, because, you know, I've been asked to do acting classes already, man, last year and year before the end, and people are still asking me now. And I say this every interview, man, I have just not become comfortable with charging people right now to teach them. I love teaching. I've been teaching all my life, you know, and training. But I'm going to leave it to the people that do it now. So, Sheik, if you're still up here, man, thank you. I love you as well, brother. And, you know, guys, if you really want to act, I would tell you to look for Sheik Mahmoud's classes when he returns. Do you know when he's coming back to Michigan anytime?
No, I don't.
Or any other dates? Okay, so you can generally look on my page and you can see it, or look on Antoine's page and you'll see us advertising it. Or just go to Sheik Mahmoud Bey's page, his Facebook page. Brother, man, thank you, man. Listen, you know, this was a long time coming. I was trying to get you for like the second interview ever, but
it wasn't a bad thing because we were just steady working and our schedules were not matching. And I got Malachi up here. I just seen Malachi come on. You know we're gonna kill him now. Oh, he late to the show. He a comedian too. We about to light him up.
To the fam too. Hold on.
Yeah.
Robert, Vince, Kevin, Caleb, everybody, Malachi, everybody.
Everybody. Yes, indeed, man. Yo, so
thank you.
Everybody, there's so many names up here, man. God bless you all. Y'all know we are genuine. And I'm glad you've been tuning in, and bro, you make that. Let's see, Orval, man. Let's see, Orval, Stephen, James, Reggie, and you are the fifth.
Sweet.
On this Facebook Live.
You got a good podcast, man. So
man, I appreciate it, man. I attempted to do this thing. I attempted to do this thing over a year ago, and I just said it was going to be too much work. So I just said. I just started one night with Orville. I came in from shooting. Matter of fact, my first episode of Law and Order, and I just said, you know what? I'm not in the studio, but it's gonna be what it is, man. And so henceforth, I'll have my shirts with me and everything. So whenever I got other colors and everything, or the backdrop, the full backdrop. But anyway, I just want to do it, man, where we can give back because that's what we're supposed to be doing. And I challenge it.
All it is that I don't like to hold on to anything. I always have a heart to give back. No matter what you do, no matter how high you climb, make sure you give back. You give back.
Yeah. Get involved in your community as well. This acting thing, come on, man. God is blessing us so much. It's so much more. And if you guys that are just tuning in, I normally would have been, because it is FBI Tuesdays. So, for those of you that you can go back and catch it on Peacock. And, tomorrow is the Chicago Med shows. Check out my brother, Reggie Kashaw at 10 o'clock on PD. And I got a lot of other brothers and sisters that are on these shows as well. And let me do this too. I know I messed this up because I always get in trouble doing it. But shout out to all my brothers that was on this last episode of BMF. I saw Andre Franklin. I saw Seven, Robert Shannon. I saw Hatari. I saw him go by. Got it. I knew I was gonna do this, man. I hate doing it, but and all the other brothers, man. Oh, my brother Otis Winston. He was in there. He threw Meech out the club, and sorry if I just killed that for somebody, but.
I ain't watching yet, Aqeel, so you got to come through. I ain't watching yet.
I ain't watching.
Okay. Yeah. I ain't watching.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, man. It was good. And listen, as much as I am an actor, man, I'm still a fan, bro. I love seeing my people, man, especially when I know you. I love seeing it. I'm still like a little kid. My wife gets tired, like, okay, babe, I know you know them, okay? I'm like, look, nigga, my boy, it's like, that's good. That's and then when she know y'all, she's like, who? I said, that's Antoine. She's like, oh, okay, cool, so it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing that we get this opportunity to do it. So we're gonna give back. And another reason that I choose you to be on the show, brother, because I'm gonna make sure that I got people that just don't have the big head. It's like we're not trying to stun on nobody, we're not trying to front on nobody. It's like the thing that we realize in being humble and still living in humility with all the opportunities that we're getting now is that at any point, God could take it away and give it to somebody, man. He can give it to somebody else. And so, so ladies and gentlemen, you have two brothers here that, we just gave you a lot. We gave you like $1,000 worth of knowledge. In every one of these interviews, you're getting $1,000 worth of knowledge because they're sharing you nuggets that they received through training classes and things.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
The first one I tell you no lie, the first one, I'm about to end now. I'm doing, and for those who don't know, I'm a pastor as well, so I'm giving you the pastor 5-minute close, as my wife would say. But the very first one, man, so many jewels was dropped, man, with Orval, and I literally just said, man, I don't know where it came from. I was just like, man, I feel like you should put up your Cash App because, man, there was a lot of jewels dropped tonight, man, and next thing you know, I started getting text from Orval. I was like, man, they really hitting me with deposits. I was like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a sign. It was a sign of respect. And one of the people that did that first off,
That daggone Malachi getting started. I gotta hang up. He's about to pass the
I gotta go.
yeah.
Oh, dog.
Yeah. But listen, man, God bless you, bro. I wish you so much more. And
Thank you.
any
You too,
final
bro.
word? Any final word? You got the final word.
Final word is yeah, don't give up on yourself. That's it.
Well, brother, we're gonna let you go, and I'm gonna do my wrap up, my last little minute of wrap up, man.
Okay.
But listen, God bless you, bro. Take care, and may God expand your territory as He did Joshua, every place that the soles of his feet touch, man.
Man, to that.
All right.
Thank
God
you.
bless, man. You have a blessed night, man. Give the family my love.
All right. You too, bro. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Hey, everybody. So, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We have my brother Antoine Jackson, and man, I don't know. I'm loving these interviews, and I pray that you are getting a lot of it. I see a lot of you saying this was a good, and Malachi keep running in the service. Yeah, bro. You know me, Malachi. I ain't changed, but I love to talk because I tell you guys again, this acting is a prescribed therapy. I'm a PTSD patient, OCD, and I want to end by telling you, listen, whatever you have as a affliction or disease, I know plenty of actors. I know some that's up here. They've had heart surgery, other type of things, and they're still here. Use what you call your handicap, or what other people would label your handicap, as the thing to put you over the top. Okay? Let whatever you got going on with you, let that be the thing. So even if you're having marital problems, work problems, I'm telling you, getting into an acting class and working out those things and be able to role play and things like that, this is definitely helping me with my PTSD. You know, I've seen a lot of things in my life, especially the wartime and even places I've been deployed to, and even in my life, you know, my father was shot at, I think I was like 5 or 6 years old. Didn't realize that was still in my system until I said this before, that I was in an interview with Janaea Black, a one-on-one interview after we did Turn of the Cheek, and as we were, for those of you that seen it, you can understand what I'm talking about. And I didn't realize that I was still carrying that around, and I broke down and cried right on camera, and you know, I realized then, like, wow, you know, I still have some unpacking to do. So for those of you that may be going through something, and get some professional help. There's nothing wrong with the professional help. All right. We like you say, if you're gonna take acting classes, you're taking acting classes because you want to learn better. So if your mental is not off, because it's not crazy to have it. We used to think that. I remember when I first got it, I didn't even want to be diagnosed because, you know, I didn't want the stigmatism over me. And get the help that you need. A lot of people are going through things. All right. So listen, love you guys. Thank you for joining Mpowered Mindz. And ladies, I told you, our next guest, I plan to have her up here, will be a lady, and this lady is, I won't even tell you her name yet. This lady is a killing it. She's in LA, and she is killing the national commercials. Once you see her face and hear her name, you will be like, oh, I see her everywhere on TV. And if you remember my interview with James Troop, another friend that was from Cincinnati, Ohio, but living in LA now, you know, he's almost, I call him like the king of national commercials. And you've seen his face a lot. But she'll be on to drop the jewels in on you know, her success in doing that. So listen, good night to all of you. If you got on late, go back. You got 2 hours worth of footage to look at. Just dropping gems all the way through. And the thing that I would ask you to do is to love on each other, love on yourself, and to just share this video, and then pass it on and look for the next interview. All right. God bless you. I love you, and continue to do what you love, man, and never let anybody tell you can't do it. All right. God bless you. Have a blessed night. Remember to encourage, exhort, and uplift.